He's like, I'm going to say I'm in the morning, then both Lana and I got texts at 6:30. He's like, I don't have a voice. You got to do it. I'm like, that's okay. I wrote it anyway.
Oh, he's getting sick.
I hope so too. Fortunately, I haven't seen him, so.
Yeah, we did our first big conference in April at Exchange in Miami.
Oh, yeah,
and it was like the first time the industry, the ETF space was all back together again, came home with COVID.
Oh,
Sucked.
no.
I was sick for like 4 weeks.
That's terrible. Yeah, I got it on Christmas Eve in Australia. So.
Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. We're coming to you live from Consensus by CoinDesk in Austin, Texas. Joining me for this segment, we have Jake Denny. He is the head of growth and strategic partnerships at Mycelium, and we're going to discuss Web3 innovation and how regulation is evolving. Jake, it's great to have you with us. Welcome to Trade Talks.
Thanks for having me, Jill.
Tell us about Mycelium and why you're here with us today.
Yeah, well, I guess Consensus has been one of the oldest running conferences in the space, so the opportunity to be around people, VCs, partners, investors, and other founders is too great to be passed up. So we're here to connect with a lot of those people and continue to tell our story.
Tell us about Mycelium and how big is this opportunity?
Look, I think the opportunity is enormous for us. Like, we were founded in Australia in 2018. Slowly we were growing through that period, coming to the US, traveling. COVID hit. So we got stuck in Australia for a period of time, and so the relationships really changed. Fortunately, people were using the tools, so we got to connect around the world very quickly and grew that network. The opportunity, I guess, in 2022 is reconnecting with those people in person for the first time.
It is great to be back on the road. It is great to have everyone here. How does Mycelium work?
So we started in the data Oracle space, setting up Oracle structures for Chainlink, which is supplying the data into these smart contracts that exist and mostly operate in the Ethereum blockchain. And from there, we sort of saw the opportunity with DeFi because we were supplying the data in there first. So creating node infrastructure, creating reputation scoring for what's happening on chain, the information and what's actually going on there, and then we sort of evolved through that. So derivatives infrastructure with one of the projects, TracerDAO, and that has continued to go on. So yeah, the opportunity keeps just growing and we keep following it.
Sometimes we hear Web3 companies are in the wild, wild west. As I understand it, Mycelium, you're actually working with governments to introduce something that matches investor demand while trying to calm down those regulatory concerns. Yeah,
absolutely. And I think we maintain that we're innovation maximalists, but we do believe in consumer protection. And so rather than shy away from that and think that people are just going to ignore that for a period of time, we really lent into that. So working in the Australian market to start, working with regulators, working with government on making recommendations about very clearly thought out, patient approach to it, to really just say there's a great opportunity here, great jobs, digital economy, and all of that growth. And so taking the time to educate and have those conversations has been really important. And through that and the nature of that, I think the credibility of the company and just the level of adoption the Australian government has lent into in terms of welcoming this it's really surprised the market, and fortunately for us, we're a big part of that conversation.
So how big is Mycelium now, and where do you see yourself heading?
Well, we're about 80 people at this point in time, around 14 different cities around the world. Growth is obviously a big part of what we're doing. I think where we see the big opportunity, and Mycelium just generally, is we see ourselves as the connective tissue for the global digital markets. And so being able to grow that infrastructure and provide that to the traditional industries and to fintech providers is going to be very helpful. We're native in the DeFi space. We know the technology inside out. We've got a primary research team thinking about that and the problems of the future. So being able to educate people and connect that new and old worlds together really gives us the opportunity to advance it.
Is there something that the industry overall can be learning from Australia?
Well, I think Australia does have the pressure on them to grow and continue to move forward. The coat of arms in Australia has got a kangaroo on it and an emu on it. And the reason they're on the coat of arms is they can't really walk backwards. And so this sort of projects this Australian vision of we're moving things forward and in the right direction. So we're seeing that recommended in the Senate, and we're going to continue to push that. So I think the real opportunity there is sort of looking at these things in a different lens, not trying to have this new technology fit into old rules that are sometimes near 100 years old, is try to think about how do we innovate, or how do we keep up with the level of innovation so we don't stifle it and we can grow the global economy.
What can those who are interested in Web3 do to accelerate the opportunities that it could potentially deliver?
Look, there's a lot of great tools out there now in terms of education and learning, and I think people have got to not necessarily be scared of it, but lean into the knowledge that's out there from others. So there's great podcasts that people can be accessing now. Sometimes there is a YouTube opportunity as well. Be very careful of that. But I think the people who are talking about the technology as opposed to the currency part of that or the investment part of that is going to be really important, because if you understand Web 1, read, Web 2, read, write, Web 3, read, write, and own, is this evolution of the internet. It's not just about currency and DeFi. It is really about evolving the entire internet as we know it today.
I appreciate the insight, Jake. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.
Thank you.
All right, we're all set.
Excellent.
Thank you so much. It was